I've been running these since about January, and I've got to be honest, I'm not very impressed with them. It's alright on bike, but on front I've had it wash out pretty much every muddy corner I've been through since January, so I'm going to fire them off. Not too bad on bike, to be fair, but I've got a very slightly part-worn Big Betty here, and I've managed to get my hands on a Magic Mary, so that's going up front. I've got Vittoria Airliner Inserts in these, which is basically that in profile. This is my third hand that I knocked up to help me change these. I've cheated a little bit. I've already done the front one, just because I'm a bit out to practice with it, and they are a bit different to doing a standard tubed or tubeless tyre. There's a slight difference in technique getting tyre off, and definitely a different technique to getting them on. These particular ones, that were quite tough, that one. I still managed it in a few minutes. The very first time I fitted these Vittoria Airliners, I had the usual standard levers that you carry around with. These are actually pretty good. These were the only ones. I had 9 levers, lightweight levers, and it destroyed 6 of them changing or installing Vittoria Airliners when I first got them. So they're the only 3 that survived, so they must be quite decent. Zefal. Bought these Cushcore levers, absolutely brilliant. Be very hard to do without them. You get a lot of pressure over, like, directly down, whereas every other kind of lever, I bought these as well, these part tool ones. Even these part tool ones, even these with rounded ends, they really dig into your hands if you've got to put a lot of pressure down to brake bead, which is where this device comes into. It's a bit of a throwback to when I used to ride enduro and motocross bikes, and we used to run what they call a bib mousse, which is like a solid foam tube that goes inside your rim, inside your tyre. And we used to have a special tool, just like a cradle with like a breaker bar or a strong arm, if you like, to do it. And that's kind of what how I've knocked this up, so to replicate that. What I will say is it needs to be this weird shape, because when you're working on your rear wheel and you've got your cassette side up, when you come to press right down to break your bead, it'll bottom out on this if you don't have this cranking. But basically it's just knocked up from bits of plywood and bits of scrap wood that I had around the house. I even bolts with some that I had lying around the house, so it's cost me nothing really. I've had tyres off 3 or 4 times for various reasons. A, like replacing fluid, cleaning all old crap out and putting new in. And B, these stretch quite a bit. When you first put them in, they tend to stretch. So that's actually a section that I cut out at one point. But I've just had that one out, and it had hardly stretched at all. So it may be, I've been using them for about a year now, and it may be that over a period of time they settle down, because I've not took any out of that. Every time that I've had to take a tyre off for any reason, I've had to cut a slice off, maybe that much or that much, or in that case that much. But in this instance it was so snug I didn't bother, so we'll see what this one's like when I remove this. Now, as you can see with these inserts on, that's had all air removed, and that's how flat it sits. If I sliced the sidewall, put an inch gash in it, something that I couldn't fix at the side of the road, you won't get these off on the side of the road anyway. So but yeah, anything that I couldn't just like top up with air and a bit of sealant, I could just ride this home. I wouldn't have to push it anywhere. Let's show you how I use this And now having this set at this height, having this cut out in the middle, even these sometimes, I don't really use these to be honest, but they are adjustable. I've put them on slotted holes so it will grip, but I've not found that I need them, but they do help keep it all centered. So yeah, let's break into it. So I'm gonna, you can just see the slot there. I'm just gonna push these up somewhere near. Got little wing nuts on bottom. Just enough so that I can just jiggle it around. We're going to start anywhere you want really. So because of the inserts are in there, I can use these to break the bead, but as you can see it's resisting quite a lot, so there's a lot of pressure on that. So I find that a few bites on this and a bit of a push down, that's it, that's started off. Length of this arm, it just sits nicely on my shoulder, so this is completely effort free. I had an instance with my other bike where I'd not changed the sealant for about a year, and I could not break, even with this, I could not break the bead. So I found a hot air gun and just warm it up, and it softens glue up, and then you can break them off. Just work your way around about 6 inches. So it took a while, but it did work. Okay, I like to start and finish at the valve. Start at the valve when I'm removing the tyre, finish at the valve when I'm putting the tyre back on. So if I'm just changing if I'm changing tyres on that one, which is just running tubeless, I'm gonna get a bite quite close. Like that. Well, I found with this particular insert, I don't know what it's like with Cushcore etc, that if I take a small bite here I struggle, so I'm going to take a little bit of a wider bite, get that down, push that down on there, take a slightly wider bite, and then it'll go. And it looks, I can tell, I can just tell by the feel of it that this rear one has settled down, as it's not stretched at all, it's sat nice and snug inside your rim. You know when they've expanded because you can hear them banging around inside your tube. So I won't be shortening these again. I think that's it. I think they've settled down. I'll probably never have to do them again, I have a feeling. So these have been in a good 3 or 4 months now. I'll take this all outside and get it all rinsed off. And that, I'll rinse all this off and then we'll put the new one back on. Bit of washing up liquid and water, soap it up. Check there, make sure it's right side up valve. Cleaned off airliner. It's supposed to fit these wet anyway. There's 3 holes in each liner. You want to line one of those up with valve. Push it down so this edge is under the rim all the way around. Once you've got that ridge inside your rim all the way around, it'll centre itself as you put your tyre on. That's it. It'll be a bit messy because there's still fluid in there. I'm not bothered washing it because it's all clean. So, starting again. Get soaked up. Start opposite your valve. First bit in. I'll try and repeat my commentary that I've already made once and wasted. These squishy walled tyres are harder to get in than stiff downhill casings, to be honest. I want to get started. You find with the stiffer wall that once you get one bit, once you push down like that, it'll drag it in, but these just tend to fold in on themselves. Oop. This is these are window fitter shims. Basically, I've just filed some of the serrations off, and what they'll do is they'll like form a guide. So like when I'm putting pressure on this side of the tyre, they'll help to guide the bead into the well of the rim. No, that's the plan anyway. The only reason I'm needing the levers it's nothing to do with tightness at tyre. It's the liner that's stopping you from just pushing it in. If this were a normal tubeless tyre or a normal tubeless fitting, same tyre, I've probably got like, I don't know, 9/10 of it, 3/4 of it on just by pushing it on with my thumbs. But now it's getting a bit of tension on it. It's going in easier than the start. Backer in there. So now it's really getting tight. They'll stop it from sliding back out again. Just give everything a bit of a push down. The more you can get it into the well, the less effort it takes at this end. And like I say, these plastic guides, they help feed it into the well. Just bring that bar around here, drop that down. Have that out. And last bit about to pop in. That's it. Shoes in. Right, I feel like I should follow up with a bit of a disclaimer before anybody decides they're going to go out and make one of these tyre tools, or whatever you want to call it. The arm is something I came up with to help me with these specifically, with these Vittoria Airliners. And the reason I say that is because this was one of the wheels that I'd not changed fluid in for forever, and it was absolutely stuck solid on the rim. And I used a hot air paint stripper gun to warm it up, as I said. That broke it down gradually, but I still needed to put a fair bit of pressure on. And when I tried using this, what I found is, because this setup here is quite crude, you know, there's no real engineering or maths gone into that. It's just something I quickly knocked up and put a bit of slot in it to allow for different size wheels, which is bollocks actually, because your wheels are always over there, it's never out here. And what I found is when I try to use this to break the bead, you see what's happening, it just rides to the back, because it kind of needs that liner inside to support it. So I don't even know if this would work for a Cushcore. Works for these, works fine, but other than that, I couldn't call it. I'm sure you could get one, you could make one where the vertical pressure doesn't move in this arc, but always comes down vertically. So maybe another swivel here, I don't know, far more complex than I need, because I'm never going to use this to change a standard tubed or tubeless tyre. It's only going to be for these, and it's really good for that. It's an absolute godsend, but you'd need far more work going into this arm if you wanted to use it for anything else. I'd be interested to try fitting a Cushcore with it. I've not really seen one close up, but I understand that they fill the tyre volume up in a similar way, so possibly they work. Now, when I did manage to loosen up the bond when this sealant had stuck, I rolled up some of this, not as much as that, and I put that under the wheel, and that kind of sort of helps support. But as you can see, it's not great. It's not great, so I won't bother with it. However, if you're changing tyres regularly, a flat piece of board with a couple of noggins on it and a hole in the middle to protect your disc gives you a much more stable platform than balancing it on a bin or working in a corner, which is what I used to do. You put pressure on this side to try and tip up on you. This don't tip up, and anything's better than working on your knees. I worked on my knees for 13 years as a coal miner and I ain't doing it anymore. So yeah, don't make one of them unless you're using these.